Anyway, so that's all that is. You'll see it like a billion times if you're ever here at the end of streams. If you're not here at the end of streams, you'll probably never see it. But that's why I'm going to upload it to YouTube every single time. And Insta and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, that's the thing. Anyway, so between us, the constant clapping of the knife against the board and the muffled noise from the television I left running, words have become surprisingly difficult to string together. Not entirely unusual, we've had moments like this before, but definitely unnerving with how things are now. I really wish someone else would come knocking at the door. As pleasant as this is, breaking the ice or keeping a conversation going has never been my forte. That has always been Isabella's or Rebecca's department. Why am I talking with an accent right now? Sometimes Ash's, although most coming from him border on awkward and embarrassing. Caffeine says this is Valorant. That sounds about right, Chet. That sounds about right. This looks like a high-intensity shooter. Yeah. Speaking of that guy, he never did call back, and I'm willing to bet my entire yearly salary that he fell right back to sleep after that call.
Sorry, Bella. Could you...
Yep, I got it. The potatoes are almost ready, by the way. I turned down the heat just in case. You might want to check on them, though. Hold on, I'll be right there. Sheesh, wait up. If you keep rapping at the door like that, you'll break it down.
Got some
Ash.
Chet.
Oh, good. You're awake.
Ash has already welcomed himself in when I take my eyes away from the oven. He's never really been keen with the notion of courtesies after he's warmed up to you, this guy. All 13 of my locks he broke can attest to that. 13 locks? Dude, what? He's a good fellow, though. This guy's just straight up breaking and entering now. What? Maybe a tad bit standoffish at first glance, but
don't you have work today?
Words.
I could ask the same of you. Hey, Z-Man.
You're late. Something came up? You need to drop the Z-Man. It's getting old.
Sorry, I got caught up with something at the precinct on the way here. Had to attend to that first before things got out of hand. I'd tell you about it, but you know how it can be with those kinds of things. Later, maybe.
And you're here because...
What? I'm not allowed to say hello?
No.
I doubt you're here because of that. And you're not answering my question.
Ah, my bad. Forgot to mention that. He called earlier looking for you. Rebecca's worried because you didn't come home last night.
Wow.
You could have called my cell instead.
You know...
You weren't
she's
picking
right.
up. Anyway, I'd really hate to cut this little get-together short, but I need to be somewhere else. Come on, Isabella, let's get you home. I'll drop you off on the way.
Wait, we're going now?
He lightly crosses a hand on her arm, kisses and string her out of the apartment, throwing a casual wave at me as they pass. Isabel, on the other hand, doesn't appear too fond of the idea. And sure enough, before they can even cross the threshold, she puts a firm foot down, the force alone enough to halt them both and catch the taller man off guard. It would have made for a funny picture. Zachary looks like he would be from The Walking Dead. He does! Now that you really mention it, he does have like that vibe. Yeah, like his art style in particular. It's not quite like Michonne, but it's very similar. The way Ash almost crashes into her, and Isabella giving off him an indignant pout over her shoulder. Surprise confusion on his face all at once. Two things that rarely ever grace it if you can help it. A rare moment, even for our small group. If only I had my camera with me. Dang. Yeah, too bad. Too bad you don't have it with you. Anywhere, in any way, shape, or form. You know, in the room, or nearby, or...
What is it?
Zach cooked something.
If it's just food, I'll get you something on the way back.
But the food! It's Zach's cooking! Real delicious food that actually tastes like food. At least stay and have a bite, please. Zach, help me here!
These two, whenever in the same room, sometimes it feels like herding a group of unruly kids instead of talking to mature adults. One moment they're engaged in pleasant chit-chat, and the next they're bickering over a minor issue. Frankly, if I didn't know any better, and I have an overactive imagination, I'd say there's something going on. Never mind how utterly impossible that idea is. GMG perks, welcome. Or it might just be me reading too much into things like always. I can already hear Ash's laughter if I so much as suggest such. Hey, I cooked up a feast.
I don't know
Chad.
about you two, but I think you guys should really stay.
You're
I've already
goddamn right.
made enough food
You're
for all of us.
goddamn
and it'd be
right.
a waste. Why, I cooked up that special honey glazed ham you two keep on yapping about. Got some scalloped potatoes with onions and cheddar to go with it, too.
The oven timer dings! I shoot the two of them an apologetic look before sauntering over the kitchen, mittens in hand. The sweet smell of the glaze and the salty tang of melted cheese waves through the air as soon as I open the door to take out the 2 trays inside. The scent immediately fills the entire room, and even with the door and windows open, the mouth-watering aroma lingers. It's appealing enough that when I put the dishes down on the counter, another starved stomach protests loudly by a burst of laughter. My head snaps at 2 of them, and I can't keep back the smile at the sight they make. Isabel's clinging to the doorframe for support, doubling over with breathless laughter. Ash is more composed than the 2 of them, trying not to look unconcerned, but a flush has crept up his neck and cheeks. It's clear whose stomach that came from, and Isabel's not going to let him live this down.
You're in no place to reject an offer of free food, Frey.
He's right. He's right, Chad.
I wasn't
GFSF.
rejecting anything. Damn it, I just missed a meal, that's all.
Aw, he's flustered.
He is.
Shut it! Those guys at the
Adorable,
precinct
Chad.
said it was urgent. Somebody has to be responsible for it.
Well, aren't you precious?
As you bet it.
Right. You know, if you keep laughing like that, you'll burst.
What's up, Joshy
I'm sure
boy?
it won't be as bad as your stomach suddenly rumbling like a starved.
Aye, kiddos, play nice. Food's gonna get cold if we keep this up.
He's right, Chad.
Ash, you gonna stay?
It's ham
Might as
time.
well, since Scaredy Cat's so hell-bent on staying.
Oh. The animation did not do that justice. Classic, welcome, hope you're doing well. However, there is a conscious effort to avoid mentioning what's currently on the headlines. The dead is never a good topic when to talk over food and polite company. This case in particular. The wounds are too fresh, too soon. I'd like to avoid it as well if I was in her position. I personally knew someone passed away in a gruesome manner like that. Low key, let's think about it. The whole time we're eating food. Like, god damn it. Though perhaps the closest we got to breaching the topic is when the infamous mansion is brought up again. But even then, we are careful, Ash and I. We keep the conversation light. Okay, hold on. What's happened here? Is it showing? Oh, the pills. Okay. We keep the conversation light to avoid bringing up our late business partner. It's
The
least we can deal.
rights? Yeah, they're planning to move in soon. In fact, they already have a housewarming party planned. It's why they wanted us to rush the papers. They wanted to send the invitations out as soon as possible.
Hold on. When was the housewarming? The 28th. So 3 days later, they have the housewarming. Got it.
Oh, now I get it.
Get what?
Remember what I told you last night about the new clients?
Vaguely? Sorry, I was a little out of it yesterday. Was it the photo shoot?
Yep, it's actually for the one you sold. Something. When you put it that way, I suppose it makes sense why my boss wants me to prioritize the couple. They can have those documents rushed at just a snap of their fingers. Then they're more influential than I initially thought. And I guess my boss is expecting a lot more from this project than I expected. Hope I can live up to it.
Your photographs are more than good enough, Zach. You'd probably win an international award if you let yourself. Ma'am Hana's easy to please, too. As long as you're good at following instructions.
Easier said than done. Different clients have different tastes after all.
Still, a week? I don't think that's possible.
Now that you mentioned it, yeah. They wanted everything finished at the earliest. To be honest, it's not unheard of, but...
But it's still weird. Still weird, yeah?
A slip of the tongue. Still barely noticeable to someone who's already familiar with Ash's ways, yet this moment it's impossible to miss. Should have a curious glance, but he ignores it. Rather pointedly.
I can't exactly say it's like that, where I'm just the middleman after all. As much as I want to comment on it, I only know what's on the surface, not the in and outs.
How
It's just that
different would this
BRC and my
be
boss
if
are
she
more
was
hands-on
dead,
with the
Chad?
legal stuff this time, despite having a separate department dedicated to it.
Maybe Mr. Wright helped with it too. They have their own legal team for this, don't they?
Well,
I'm
they
curious.
should have one.
Where's the branching
Especially for a big property like this.
tree? None of this even happens. That's the answer. It's just a straight line. Oh my god, we get a really straight line later. It's probably, this is like them finding out that Isabella's dead. Oh boy, okay.
They have, but like I said, it's off our hands. Rose and I don't handle this stuff in the office.
Okay, so this like most visual novels is very different. One of the things that Aiden said is that we didn't kill Bella, which a lot of people seem to do apparently in like their first run. But somehow we didn't kill her. So Apparently, the run is very, very different, though, if she's dead. Because that's what I'm assuming this other tree is for.
If anything, to me, this just means I'll be able to send the rest of the funds to Papa's treatment earlier.
I guess that makes a whole lot of sense. Officially off our instant noodle diet, aren't we?
Ash, has anyone ever told you that you have an uncanny way of ruining the mood?
What? I was just saying. A few more months of stuffing your face with those, and I'm sure you'll start to look like a noodle cup. That's a pretty picture.
At least
wanna be
I
a
don't live
noodle
off
cup,
convenience store food. Or make poor, unassuming pressure cookers explode.
What? How did you... Oh, come on, Zach.
Sorry, it just came up while we were cooking earlier.
Rip.
I'm impressed, Ashton Frey. You even made it to the news.
A one-time thing. And it wasn't as big as you seem to be imagining.
Oh, sure. Let's all pretend that one time you almost set my apartment on fire didn't happen too.
Hey, that was an accident.
You were making a salad, Ash.
Can we please move on to a different topic?
What? It helps the casual talk, the harmless teasing, the mundane stories interesting enough to let time pass unnoticed. By the time lunch ends, the shadows are no longer at the forefront of my mind. If it's the same for Isabel, whatever troubles her, I can never tell. These things, the anxiety, the fear, they ain't easily seen, ain't easily forgotten after all.
You go on ahead. I've got a few things I need to ask Zach. I'll be downstairs in a minute.
Confusion briefly flashes in her eyes as she catches the key as he tosses her, but he doesn't give her an answer and waits for her to go get help. Or go ahead, damn.
How sure are you I won't be driving away with your Shirley?
You don't even have a license. Do you even know how to?
Papa taught me how. I'm probably a better driver than you. See you later, Zach. Thanks for the food.
Always has to have the last word, don't you?
You're welcome. I'll send you the recipe for the potatoes tonight.
A grin is back in her face when she leaves and closes the door behind her. For a little while after left alone, Ashley goes wholly quiet, listening, waiting for her remaining footsteps in the hall to fade. The earlier amusement is gone from his face, replaced by what I can only describe as trepidation. Dined and dashed, hell yeah. I know that look all too well. When he's like this, he's expecting shit about to go down.
That wasn't very nice, Ash. What was that with Isabella earlier? You're usually subtler with your questions.
They hired you.
Hired me who? Don't change the subject yet. What's really going on here?
The Wrights. Luke and Hannah Wright. You said your next gig is with them.
Is that what this is all about?
Just be careful around them. You have no idea what you're dealing with when it comes to that couple. I'd rather you stay as far away from them as possible, but you're already here. Isabella's their real estate agent. Seriously, of all the people in Luxburn.
Okay. I guess I'll just have to take your word for it.
He nods, claps a comforting hand on my back, and then turns to leave without another word. He's never been good with those. More often, he fumbles with what he wants to say, but his actions alone are enough to tell me how grateful he is for the trust. He reaches for the knob as soon as he gets to the door, but doesn't turn it. Instead, he looks back and gestures his head towards the table. I don't need to follow his line of sight to know he's going to ask about. He's likely taking notice of it the moment he entered the room.
You back on those? I haven't seen you taking them in a year.
Oh, damn. The drugs, chat.
I kinda had to. It got worse after the film fest. The dreams, that is. I don't think I'll be doing that again anytime soon.
Heard about that. Don't drop it, though. You don't want Becca scolding you. She actually enjoyed the movie you made, and she's hard to please. Consider that a small victory.
None of them watched it,
You don't
chat.
have to tell me. She already did. Rebecca and Bella both gave me an earful after I said the opposite. Promised them I wouldn't, but you can never tell. Hopefully, once I feel better, I'll be able to think about it properly. Speaking of Bella, she didn't open up to me, but maybe with you and Rebecca.
Yeah, I'll try. I can't promise anything, but I'll talk to her.
Thanks. That's all I'm asking.
This time he reaches for the door, he lets it close fully behind him without glancing back. Mild draft sweeps in the room as I close the door behind him. Slightly disturbing, the papers on the fridge nearby. Hold on. New journal post, 25th. Is it the food? It is. That doesn't look appealing. Alright. Ermengarde Mansion, H. Wright, 11 a.m. After Ash's warning, they all hold different meanings now. Okay, so this is tomorrow. I'm assuming it's right after the photo shoot, because we saw how that went. The next 2 days, okay. It said the 27th, right? Yeah. The next 2 days rushed by in a blur. Okay, stop it, Zach! Stop it! Okay! Depends on how you look at it, really. Either way, I'm stuck developing these photos at 3 in the morning to reach the deadline set by an overeager art director. Oh, Chet. We're gonna see the spooky pictures. Don't get me wrong, Julius is good, has a vision, and knows what he wants, but damn, he can be enthusiastic.
Doesn't matter when you couldn't sleep anyway.
Aw, poor Zach, dude. There's nothing new in it, of course. After years of working as a freelance photographer, it's simply something I've grown used to. Getting to know people, build a client base, do good work, and cash in on some late hours if need be. Rinse and repeat. It certainly takes a while to get some footing on the field, but it's kind of a thing that pays off in the long run as long as you keep it up. Given enough time, you might end up with some big-name clients on your list. Names like the Wrights, in particular. What's up, Quinn? How you doing, boss? I never did pay attention to them, but it's virtually impossible not to hear about them when the local news channel or paper has something to say about their name. A party here, an acquisition here. Sometimes it's a new business venture, other times it's the everyday gossip that typically follows popular people like them. Not in a million years did I ever imagine I would end up working for such a high-profile couple. And between that and the fuss that comes with it, leaves me no time to ponder over whatever happened to Isabella or why Ash is so adamant to keep away from the pair.
They do seem like the good folk, though, despite the whole fame thing.
True. How you doing, Gwen? Hope you're doing well, bud. Sure, there was rumor running around years ago about him being involved in some business scandal. It's the only way to say business, chat. But just like everyday gossip blown out of proportion by the media, nothing came of it. Eventually, it simply died down. Much is definitely left to be said for the husband, but I doubt a woman like Miss Wright would pick him if he doesn't have any good points at all. Stop down, Remy! Miss Wright, Hannah herself, though. She ain't particularly bad the way the press makes her out to be. The tabloids had it all wrong, that's for sure. For someone born with a silver spoon in her mouth, well, she ain't exactly what I was expecting. Among other things, the newfound friendship is the least I expected from her, but here we are. Although, with a life as public as the Wrights, no wonder it's the woman who often gets the crappy end of the stick. I can't help but feel sorry for her. What is that even supposed to mean? What is that even supposed to mean? She's a really nice person when given the chance. Heck, she might even have ended up friends with Rebecca and Isabella, too. They weren't living worlds apart. Probably. The beat quickly pulls me back before my thoughts travel any further. In one practice motion, I carefully place the wet print I'm holding on a drying rack and amble over to my makeshift darkroom to get the last photos from the water bath. Inside the converted broom closet, the film processor lets out another soft clack before going on standby mode. At its mouth, a lone photograph sits in a tray, barely visible to lack of light. It's the last one tonight for the set Miss Wright requested. I usually don't make this a habit, giving stuff away, that is. It's bad for business, no matter how well-intentioned or generous you are. This exception, however, she treated me well and was a pleasant companion all the way throughout the shoot. Even if she didn't ask, I probably would have given her a few prints for the hell of it. Miss Wright ain't such a bad subject matter to begin with. And maybe this is just me, but for someone who has everything at the palm of her hands, all the money in the world, a loving husband, and a big old mansion to call home, she's lonely. She doesn't appear like it. It shows in the tone of voice, how she moves, and most certainly in her smiles. What's up, Toddway? How you doing, friend? Welcome, welcome. Always hidden behind glamour for the world never to see. Hey, thanks for sharing the broadcast, dude. So appreciated. Sometimes for people like her, wow, I can read. Small things like these help. A little reminder that the world can be kind too. Water drips in the paper as I blindly pick it up and lay it gently on another tray, holding a decent amount of photo glow. A few seconds of the solution is all it needs before it's ready for dry. No good rushing this last one, even if my body's already screaming for a decent snooze. Coke Shay, welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. And thanks for that follow, dude. So appreciate it. My hand fumbles for the light switch, moving towards it with familiarity, while I fish for a squeegee among the mess of tools on the drawer with the other. The bulb flickers twice before its glow settles, and it casts a soft light in a tiny space. When I glance down, squeegee in hand, ready to finish the process, and finally call it a night.
What on earth?
Perfect. Oh! Oh. Okay. Just... That wasn't what I was expecting, chat. I was expecting, like, the ghost over her shoulder. You can kind of see that there's, like, a shadow there. But, like...
Damn, that was too careless.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that looks like a mistake we could have made. A common mistake to make if one is negligent enough to pick a newly processed photo in the dark. Like I apparently did. Has happened before, loads of times, actually. But I still can't help but feel a small pang of frustration over one mistake a newbie would likely make. With a sigh, I reach for the Switch again, intending to develop a new one from
It
scratch.
could pass off for one of those supernatural pictures they show on TV, though.
A memory clicks, one cursory thought, and a sea of many, and a short yet distinct second from a day before. A glimpse is all I got, enough to burn the image in my mind. There was a shadow. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Tell me more. Tell me more, Chet! No. A woman. In her 20s or early 30s, maybe? With how far gone her flesh alone has become, it's not possible to tell at a first glance. The skin itself has taken a sick pale color, rotten in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and liaison on her hand. Bony hands, grip Miss Right neck, like a noose, staining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes.
Zachary?
Not for me, but for Miss Right.
Zach? Is something the matter?
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something, that's all. Let's get back to the pictures.
Yeah.
Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
Yeah, just a little bit away from the ghost, please. Thank you. The murder alone is enough to make me wretch. I brush it off. A trick of the eye, I told myself, for a product of the heat. The weather's been unexpectedly warm recently, so it shouldn't be surprising for such things to happen. Okay. And while blaming this on the usual fatigue, an overworked brain, the weather, and amateur error on my part is far more convenient. Makes a whole lot of sense of what the small voice inside my head whispers. Okay, now we're on the 27th, right? Yeah. Same tiny voice that makes itself known when something's afoul. The saying that lent a curious ear to Isabella's worries about the mansion. And with each second I spend staring at this photograph, the murmurs in my head only grow louder against my ears. Show it to Ash. Let's not show it to Hannah. She's gonna go, what the hell are you showing this to me for? Ash will give me flack for this. He will. I can already hear what he's gonna say about this the moment I bring it up. Hell, before he even sees anything, I wager. This guy's skeptic through and through, and I'll take more than my account for him to even consider this. But when you've been there, seen something enough to raise the hairs at the back of your neck and leave you wanting to flee or hide, what he thinks is the least of my concerns. I am no hero. That's a title best reserved for someone else. Still, if this will help him change his mind, it's worth a try. Isabella's gone and done the same thing, hasn't she? Big Pop, what's up, buddy? Outside, the sun is yet to rise. I've still a few hours before dawn. Good enough time to mull over how I'd go about this with him. Plenty of space to check if I get the same result if I redo the process again. You okay, Rem? Yeah, I had a cold like the last few days. So we ended up a little bit late yesterday, but we ended up doing like a full day stream just to make up for it. But I'm doing good. I'm doing good, bud. Thanks for asking. The film processor hums back to life at my touch. The light switch gives out a soft click, and darkness embraces the small closet again.
Somehow those urban legends don't sound so silly now.
Sometimes I wish Ash would make himself easier to find. 24 messages, 13 phone calls, and one visit to his flat later. I still have no idea which rock and Lux were, and he went to hide under again. Guy has his own place, but refuses to stay in it. Has his own phone, but doesn't answer any calls or any indication he's got my messages. Most of the time, he'll just show up at my front door. Sometimes in the middle of the night, complaining about how uncomfortable it is to sleep in the back of his car. As if the old couch in my flat is any better. Nothing new from him, though. But a bit frustrating, really. There's the police precinct, after all. Then again, he's not there most of the time. Either if he's true for today, he's likely out on another stakeout. Holy shit, Christ. Boyos, chat, I can't read! There's nothing much for me to do, but to wait if that's the case.
Let's just hope I'm lucky enough today.
While Oxford is a relatively peaceful city boasting a low crime rate, the precinct stays abuzz with activity. MC Mello, welcome, hope you're doing well. As soon as I open the glass front doors, murmurs coming from the people waiting in the lobby welcome me. Officers can occasionally be seen shuffling in and out of rooms, greeting civilians with a casual smile and a polite nod. Some, though, look a little worse for wear, like the receptionist, who looked at me with much disdain the moment I arrived. Thankfully, I won't have to deal with him today. Before I can even step in, Ashton's voice through the low comes from the hallway adjacent to the
Not
lobby.
even for just 1 minute?
No. The case was dismissed, remember?
Dismiss
You were the one handling that
Ashton, boy.
case.
if you want access to those records, you've got to ask Chief. I was taken off it before shit went to hell. Why do you even bother? Even Professor Clark seems to have given up on that.
Well, Never mind, you won't understand.
Won't
Right.
understand, shit.
I know you owe Professor Clark a lot, but the right guy isn't just someone you mess with. They've got the money. Who knows what else gets swept under the rug with them involved?
That takes a special kind of ignorant not to know.
And a smart person to know which boundaries he can't cross. You're a bright guy, you'll figure it out. In any case, I've got to get going. Another missing person case on my hand. Benjamin on the front desk looks like he's about to maul someone after the fourth one yesterday.
4 missing people in
Murders,
one day?
people missing. What a time to be alive. Man, I miss the old Luxburn.
You and me both. I'll see ya. Gonna go grab some lunch.
He notices me first, as soon as he enters the lobby and pauses. Confusion briefly crosses his face until I fish out the phone from my pocket and wave it up. More cat power, welcome to the stream. Frowning pulls at his own mobile, wordlessly fiddling with it for a few seconds before sighing heavily. There aren't any annoyance in him when he glances up, though, only mild exasperation and what might be the hint of
Stop
amusement.
taking pointers from Isabella. This is gonna get old soon.
Maybe answer your
Just
phone!
use your phone properly.
It's an alarm clock, a good note-taking device, a halfway decent camera, and maybe a music player too. If I'm being nice. What else do I need it for?
I don't know, keeping in contact maybe?
Got him. When he merely shrugs, I know I've struck a chord. He's far from holding a piece of technology in contempt, of course. Save. Ash has always been nothing but practical from the start, and technology's useful. Only when he gets too focused on one thing like a case he's handling, he tends to forget the other things around him. A little reminder and nudge in the right direction. can go a
I've got an
long way.
email on that social media site the girls roped us into joining.
That doesn't make any sense. Also, you've got an account before any of us had one.
He's right.
For policing purposes?
He's right.
Anyway, why are you here? I thought you have something scheduled today. Or was that yesterday?
That was yesterday. Look, about that, there's something I want you to see.
He stops me with a tap on my shoulder, walks straight past me to the door, and gestures with his head towards their very urged receptionist when I raise an eyebrow. and
Over
question.
lunch. I haven't eaten anything since last night, and Benjamin there doesn't really like loiterers around here.
Are you playing the Amnesia game? We already beat it. Yep. That was the last 2 days. The full playthrough is up on the YouTubes. As expected, he takes his seat in the farthest corner of the cafe. A good way from the window, but easily allows a view of who comes and goes. Secluded enough not to be disturbed by lunch hour rush or to be overheard by a curious bystander. If I didn't know this is lunch, he invited me to, I'd automatically assume I got dragged into another stakeout. You probably did, shit. After years of knowing him, though, this has simply become one of the many habits I've gotten used to. Food arrives minutes later. A slice of the vegetarian quiche for me. Meanwhile, Ashton has opted for a cup of coffee, plus a gracious serving
You having
of...
cake for lunch?
He shrugs and proceeds to dig in without even a hint of remorse. Frankly, it's like seeing a child get his Christmas present early.
Don't tell Becca. I'll get an earful. It's just for today.
You should listen to her though. The kind of work you do, you'll need to eat something other than sweets.
He's right.
I don't want to see you drop dead in front of my apartment
Eat
again.
some protein.
I told you,
shit.
just this once. Have you been hanging out with Becca lately? You're beginning to sound like her.
Nah, just for some recipes. But she has the right to worry, you know? It's like she's taking care of 2 kids. One bitches on sweets, while the other on cup noodles. At least Bella knows how to cook.
Hey, I can at least boil something. Wait, that's easy, right? I mean, you just put water in and...
No, don't even think about it. You destroyed your own kitchen once by sticking a pressure cooker on it. I think my sister is a whole lot better than you. And this is coming from someone who has no other choice but to eat her cooking for some time.
To be fair, he genuinely appears offended at the last remark. Hate will be too strong of a word for how Sis and him usually interact whenever they're in the same room. Though, whatever appropriate word is, I can say with most certainty the feeling's mutual for both. Can we kill in this game? No, I don't think so. Ash thinks that she nags too much, while Sis thinks she's a trouble magnet. I should stay away from. They're both technically right on.
How's your sister, by the way? Still bullying white guys?
She's one
You
now.
do know she's married to one now.
A+. Cool.
I hope she doesn't end up poisoning him with her cooking.
Pot calling the kettle black?
Yeah, I'm not going
She
near
can't be
that.
better than me.
Actually, she is now. They're planning to start a restaurant sometime in the future.
They're starting a
I was bedridden for days after eating some of the stuff she whipped up. And now you're letting her cook for other people?
Don't
Sell
exaggerate.
it to
It was
other
just for
people,
one
Jack.
day, and you're the one who refused to leave your apartment. You should come by, though. Sis gave birth a few days ago. Girl, I've only seen the pictures. But I might visit sometime after everything's settled down. Too many backlogs to go through for now.
No way in hell. She'll just find something to criticize again. Last time, it was Shirley.
He makes you show up being utterly mortified, though I'm quite sure he doesn't mean any of that. He might not say it straight out, but I'm pretty sure he's enjoying the small visits whenever he can. Something about him reminds him of his own family, sort of like making up for the one he never got back after his parents separated. Sore spot, that one topic, one that he never brings up in any conversation if he can't help it, but I've never seen the need to be nosy. There's some wounds that you're just not meant to open, and for both of us, the sentiment goes
As if
that
you
way.
ain't already on a shit list. You're just afraid of her.
Fair.
In your dreams. But I'll think about it. Can't just drop this thing at the moment.
Uh-huh. His tone is subtle, but aggravation over the matter hangs completely palpable in the air.
Still no closer?
The opposite, actually. There's been some slip-ups here and there. Careless mistakes, and let's just say I'm waiting for him to make another one. What about you? How are things on your end?
All piled up on top of the other. But I can manage. Still recovering from the expenses for the movie, so the surge in new projects helps. And well, there's this one thing.
The expression on his face grows more puzzled with each photo I spread on the table. There's about 8 of them, all the reprints of the same thing, which writes distorted head on the photos. It takes a minute to go through each, eyeing the prints warily. The furrow one's brow doesn't ease, even as he gathers it all into one pile and sets them in one neat stack in front of me with a heavy sigh.
Hana, right?
Yeah. How did you...
The locket. She never takes it off. Evan's family heirloom.
I don't even think about asking why, or how he knows that. If he's investigating them, he'll likely have already dug up every unimaginable dirt on them, including family
Are
history.
you done with your work with them?
Yesterday, yeah. It's just a small feature for a magazine. Interviews, photos, standard stuff, nothing big. But see, here's the thing. I don't know how else to put this out there without sounding crazy, but there really is something odd with that place. Remember the letter?
He drags in a breath, reaches up his nose, and pinches it like the action move alone will help him grant all the patience in the world to continue this conversation. Lizzie0322, welcome.
Please tell me this isn't about that again.
It's always about the little
No, Ash, you've got to listen this time.
I am listening, and I can't believe that just came out of your mouth.